Hello, this is Sam from Blood of Heroes bringing you a guide on the Restoration Druid. After a quick search on YouTube, I realized that there aren't really that much guides on how to play a Restoration Druid or why you should do the things you do, and I just figured it's end game, you have your trinkets, getting items isn't really that hard, but I'm going to break down to you the things you should most probably think about and why some trinkets or some talents are better than others. So without any further ado, let's get to it. I love playing Restoration Druids. I mean, you have an amazing toolkit for healing that can be tweaked, improved, and even sometimes dominate the fights when it comes to healing by just switching out one talent or a trinket, and you will always be relevant in the fights. Right off the bat, the level 15 talent is one of those talents you will be switching around. Now of course, if you trust your own abilities to dock, dip and dodge, go with the swiftness. But then again, for some bosses like, let's say Argent, where you need to dodge the Allure of Flames and be at a specific location, then Displace a Beast will, without a doubt, be far more superior. The swiftness will make you permanently fast no matter what form you're in, while on the other hand you have the Displace a Beast who will just put you instantly where you are supposed to be. So you will just have to switch them around and find your own favorite talent. The level 30 talent is a no-brainer. It's Ysera's Gift. It will always be Ysera's Gift. Do not switch this one around. Everything else in this skill tree, or well, this row for level 30, is completely useless for PvE. The level 45 talent should always be Typhoon. This is a spell that a lot of Druid players tend to overlook, but it is extremely useful. For an example, you can use it on the ghost on Thar to keep the ghost back in the fire, or even further back in the fire, making sure that they never reach the ranged. The majority of the adds you cannot knock back is always slowable. You can even use it on the Void Star inside the Nether Banish on Archimon, so do not forget about the spell, it is very useful. The level 60 talent is in between Soul of the Forest and Tree of Life, and I cannot stress this enough. These are the talents that will make you either the blanket healer or the amazing Tree of Life with an enormous cooldown to use. While Soul of the Forest does not really have a cooldown, it just depends on your swift mend, Tree of Life is a major cooldown, working like your Tranquility. Of course, Tranquility does heal everyone and Tree of Life kind of requires you to press buttons, but it's an equally good cooldown. However, if you choose to go with Tree of Life, you have to switch around your level 90 talents as well. I will get to that in a few moments. Combined with the level 45 talent, Ursul's Vortex is absolutely amazing for adds. I can refer back to Thar where all the ghosts spawn, of course. If you just put down your Vortex, the ghosts will be slowed, and if they get too far, they just drag back to that previous location. You can always put down a Vortex, Typhoon the targets away, interrupt their spellcast, and as they get flung away, they'll just instantly come back as if you've done a mass grip like a DK. Your level 90 talents. This row with the combination of your level 60 talents is what makes you who you are. Dream of Scenarios will be your go-to spell on normals and heroics because you don't really need that much cooldowns, but it's an entirely different story on Mythic. While some may argue that Heart of the Wild is better than Nature's Vigil, I am on the other side saying that Nature's Vigil is way better than Heart of the Wild. Why, you may ask? Well, Nature's Vigil's cooldown is 1.5 minutes. Heart of the Wild, on the other hand, is 6 minutes, meaning that you can pop one Heart of the Wild per fight, while you can pop at least 2, at a minimum 2, or at least 3 per fight using Nature's Vigil. Now of course, if the fight only consists of one small inner loop of heavy damage, then using Heart of the Wild will be far more superior to Nature's Vigil, but in overall, Nature's Vigil will be the talent you will use. Popping your Tree of Life with Heart of the Wild up at the same time would mean you will be an unstoppable force. You could single-handedly keep up the entire raid by yourself. This of course will be a huge blow to your mana pool, but those 15 seconds you're up and healing everyone by yourself would be an immense help for the other healers. The level 100 talent is a no-brainer, of course. You choose Germination and nothing else. First of all, just let me go through the trinket choices, since they are, just like your talents, a massive part of your healing. Now, let me just tell you this. As a druid, you will always have a massive amount of overhealing, as you should. Why? Well, because you are pretty much a blanket healer, and everything you do will always be a healing over time type of effect. And for that to be really good and effective, you have to pre-hot a lot of people, meaning that, well, a lot of overhealing done, but if you don't pre-hot people, then your healing over time spells will be pretty much rendered useless. With that said, a lot of people actually use Seed of Creation while healing. Now, I'm not going to say that is bad, but for some bosses it is superior. But overall, I mean, using the Leech Trinket, meaning the unstable Fell Shadow emulation, is far more superior. Why? Well, you see, the Seed of Creation does not really provide you with any flat stats. I mean, sure, it gives you the Flourish thing that actually is amazing, but overall, the fights aren't really that stacked for the mythic bosses and bosses you really need to perform on your healing. And as for a class that pretty much relies on pre-hotting people when they actually take damage, then the amount of leech provided by your trinket would mean that that player himself could heal himself over time. Which is pretty much what you want to do. You want to keep everyone alive. Now, excelling on the meters is not always, the thing you want to do. You just want to make sure that nobody dies. Now, I could go through the best in slot gear for you guys, but I won't do that. I'm actually just going to give you a link down in the description. You can click and it will show you the normal version, but of course, normal being heroic and mythic and so on is still going to be your best in slot gear. So, stat prio. Of course, this is a little bit of a personal reference. I do not say that this is the absolute best way to go, but we're going to start with haste. Haste is pretty much what does this. The amount of ticks during the duration you have. As you see, the rejuvenation over there is ticking health, and there's a crit as well. But there's another thing with your haste. Of course, I would say the one thing you would do is to get your mastery to about 30% and then get your haste as high as you can. Of course, I would say balance those two out because one is not better than the other in the long run, depending on your playstyle. But if you're new to a Restoration Druid, haste is generally better than mastery if you can actually handle this little thing over here. Now, this is your mastery. It's called Harmony. As you see, it does the thing where you're healing over time spells. As you see, it went from 4,000 something to 6,000 something per tick. And this little thing over here needs to be up all the time. I cannot stress this enough. This thing has to be up all the time. It doesn't matter if you're casting Rejuvenation or Life Bloom or Swiftmend, whatever. But this has to be up at all times. Wild Mushroom, which is a thing you will place out on your targets, will benefit a lot from this. Your wild growth would be immensely useful, and it's just something you have to keep up. I've repeated myself a couple of times, but then again, I just want to make sure you get the point. As for the last thing I'll say before I go, it's about the enchantments and the socket things you probably get on some of your pieces. Just go full out haste on them. You could haste something with mastery if that would mean that it actually puts you on 30%, but everything else should generally just be haste. This has been Sam from the Blood of Heroes, bringing you a guide on the Restoration Druid, and this is all I have for you guys this time. Give us a share, give us a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.